So, good evening. Right, this one's going to be a bit of a weird one because this is not a normal kind of system. I got asked by someone a while back, could I make a system where they can only use the left hand and the left leg. So, yeah, that's kind of a hard one since most components are made for using right hand, and yeah, okay, you can get automatic gearboxes, blah blah blah, but motorbike simulation, a different matter. So took on the challenge and came up with the best I could do with what is available and what I could find. I did actually try different things, and what most people would think automatically, oh okay, so can't use throttle, and this is an actual throttle but it's not connected because there's no point, it can't be used. Same with a hydraulic front brake, it's not hydraulic, it's I left the brake switch on it so that it could be pulled lightly to act as a switch if needed. If Simon, the guy that asked me about this, if he can pull it. If not, it's still connected, but basically both of these are not going to be used. I'm not sure if he can, he said he can press a button, so there are buttons on this side, so he can, if he needs to, push buttons on this side. I'll show you closer in a minute. But basically, left side. So on ATVs, so three-wheelers and that, you can get the thumb activated throttles. So, right, that's obviously going to be the kind of thing I'm going to try here, because you really cannot put a throttle for the right side on the other side. It just don't work out right because you're going like that to open it. So that don't work. So no. So it had to be a thumb throttle. And there are universal ones, they say they're left and right, but in reality, they aren't. It boils down to, yeah, you can turn it around, but the problem is where it actually is, it's such a long reach. So they're not really universal, and trying to find one during COVID and Brexit and everything else going on in the world, and so many companies have just literally closed, especially electronics manufacturers. So I managed to find one that I thought could work, it didn't. Then found another, that didn't. So I ended up buying three, but the one I've now got is the best out of those three. So I've got two that I basically junked because I tried altering them and making them work and ended up just putting them in the trash. But this one is the best one, and what I did was, because I found if you've got to use front brake, because this, what would be the clutch, is now the hydraulic front brake. So it's hydraulic, but it's tunable. And then I've got thumb, but where it should be thumb, I put it here. So you're using this finger. Now, what that entails is, it means it's actually a lot easier than using the thumb. And because you're trying to use your thumb, you gotta remember, some of the one hand is trying to operate throttle, brake, maybe a button. So I did hours and hours of testing, and this really worked out to be the best combination to make it easiest to learn. I've only used it a couple of hours, if that. and I just can't get on with it because I've got my right hand here, and so the brain is saying the right hand is throttle, the right hand is brake, and it makes it very hard for me, whereas I know Simon is used to using just his left hand. So it should become, after a bit of practice, very natural for him. Well, not very natural, but more natural than me because I use my right hand all the time. So that's where that basic concept is. But then I also had to think about, well, if he's going to put it on the desk, he's got to be able to take it apart and everything like that. So it boiled down to a lot more than just the concept of using a system, but it was also then being able to use it without someone else's help to assemble it to the basics. I'm going to have to set this up at his house because I'm going to have to change the angles of all the components and everything's got to be set up correctly, and I might have to disconnect some of the cabling to do that correctly. And you don't want to be going in behind here to the electronics unless you know what you're doing, and you've got to have really fine hands and you need both hands to do that. So it's something that unless you're me, you won't know what the hell you're doing. So I need to set it up for him, but once that's done, he needs to be able to put it on his desk and take it off his desk using one hand. So I have actually made it that it is like that. So he can assemble foot controls, he can assemble this onto the desktop, and just with his left hand, and he should be able to do it. I've tried it myself, it's not easy, but it's something you can learn. So, you know, I'm trying my best here. Right, so what I'm going to do, because I actually made it as well, so where you've got to, before you plug it into a computer, you've got to connect the foot controls to the handlebars. So I made it that the cable is quite simply just tied in a certain position that with one hand you can disconnect it and reconnect it. And you've got to remember he's got to do everything with his left hand. Now I designed everything on my original metal, and I had to change it. I built one unit for right hand, and then I suddenly thought, oh no, he can only use his left. So I'd already altered it in design, but then I had to alter it again. So I had to just make a new unit so it could be done with the left, so that it could have this bit here. And then of course you can't use a hand and a tool and hold things. So I made it where it's got the top. This is for, it goes on the frame that goes on the desktop. It goes on this, and it goes on the bit for the foot controls. So this one little knob will allow you to tighten and untighten everything and be able to do everything with one hand. And that was one of the biggest problems to actually get around. So without any ado, now I am going to use both my hands because I'm going to try and show this in front of the camera, which is not something I think Simon's going to be doing. But right, so you can see, foot controls, this is not his frame. This is what I'm using here because this is bigger and a pain in the bum because it has to be used, I forgot to say, he's in a wheelchair. It makes it even harder. So I'm just using my test rig, which I use so I don't scratch or damage anyone else's. These are his foot controls. All he wanted was a gear shift for his left foot, so he's got a gear shift. But you can, if you wanted to use it as a rear brake, it'd be a digital rear brake, so just pressing down, it'll be your rear brake on if you wanted to do so. I have in the meantime come up with an idea where I can make a double lever, so you could have a gear shift and a rear brake on this side. It's just a lot more work, and yeah, everything costs more, doesn't it? But it's like, more than anything, it's a case of I could do it, but I'd have to really think about it. So that's the frame that I use and kind of what you normally get, but this is what I had to make for him. It's a little bit bigger because what it has to do is he's left, so it's hard to show. this bar here has to go between the wheels of the wheelchair. Then that's in the centre of the wheelchair, and his foot's going to be here, his left foot, and then, no, yeah, it's, yeah, so I've got to remember I'm looking at the video, it's the wrong way. Then it's got the wheel for the wheelchair can go in between here, so that he can have it as close as or as far away as he needs to, but the wheel from the wheelchair will be able to actually fit into this area. So it's for quite a thin or wide wheelchair. I've had minimal information. Poor Simon actually can't talk. He had an accident 20 years ago on his bike, so this is actually a personal thing for me. But he can't talk, so information's been minimal. But I've used the best knowledge that I have to actually come up with the most practical concept. So anyhow, that's that. Actually, I'm gonna, no, it'll be all right there. I just don't wanna, it's on the side of my couch, so. Right, so I must be boring you by now, but this is just one thing that I wanted to get out, because I would like to be able to help people that have disabilities and want to ride a bike, but then that can't, but possibly they can get the kind of enjoyment that Simon's looking for. And it's like also, it's like for me, one thing I have to think about my systems, I don't just wear my gloves for fun, to look cool or something. I have carpal tunnel in both wrists. I've got carpoid in my elbow. I was shot. I've got problems with this hand, major. So I do build my systems and think about the health of the body, the health of the user. And it is imperative, because the whole concept of the lean on my system, whereas it should be going like this, when you're sitting still, you could seriously damage your muscles if you're trying to turn like that while you're sitting on a couch. You're damaging your back, your wrists, your neck. So many muscles are being used the incorrect way, and therefore my system is thought out to do with health as well. So that's the simple side. Right, let's get to me showing you. It's, in a way, it looks like a simple thing, but it's until you get the correct ratio of this component to that component and how it's set up and will it actually work. And I've had to alter each of these components. They're not as they come out off the, the factory belt or whatever they call it. But yeah, I have to alter everything for it to function. But you still got to come up with the concept of the way that it can work. And like I said, so many factories have closed, it's hard to find things now. So anyhow, like I said, I'm going to use both my hands so I don't damage the system while trying to show you. So basically, what you can see here, it's very hard because obviously there's black on black and everything. I'm trying to get it that you can see. This is the throttle here, and then you've got your brake there. Whereas normally, it is hard to do this. This would be, in fact, underneath here, but because when they say universal, it would actually go here. So it'd be farther away. So the whole point being that that's that basic setup, which is, you think, oh yeah, I could have come up with that in 5 seconds. I bet you wouldn't have, because you'd have bought a throttle unit and used it the way that it was made to be used, and then you wouldn't have altered it so that it functions in a different way. And that's where it is. That's what makes things different. So you can I'll show you. So you you can pick it up, right? Your hand's here, I'm not using this hand. You can pick it up, slide it on. Now it'd be on a different desk, it doesn't matter. You tighten it up, you can take this off. You'd have already put the, it's a bit tight, you'd already used it for the main desk mount. But then you do use it for this, and you also use it for the foot controls. But it means you can do it with one hand. And then you've got your cable for the foot controls, which you have to put in first. It's also possible to use, if you have the cable the right way round, you can also connect it with one hand. Right. And then there's the second USB, that's USB 2. The one that connects the foot controls is USB 3 because it has to have a certain amount of wires normally, but on this system not. And my computer just went boop. That means it's connected. Because I'm trying to do this, I keep holding my right hand back, trying not to use it. It's a really weird feeling, really weird. Like I said, I've only done a couple of hours of testing it, and more than anything, not testing riding, more just testing the system as to how it reacts on just using one hand, and me trying to actually just get used to it. But on the track, I have not spent that much time, so this could be quite laughable. Right, so I can use my right hand for my mouse. I do feel so sorry for Simon because it must be... I never actually asked him if he was right or left-handed before the accident, so it would be an interesting point, but like I said, it was 20 years ago, so I'm sure he's going to be quite apt at using it. So now I need to basically show setting it up is not like you would do on a normal system where you've got a throttle that you can twist and the brake you can pull, because what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to put the leverage down to make it a bit different. With the leverage, it's a button. What it does, if I move it like that, if you can see how the lever is moving closer to the handlebar, the further away it is, the less sharp the brake will be because your hand doesn't have so much power in it. But if you allow the lever, so you change the button for the leverage, it brings the lever closer, which means your hand is already closed tighter, which means you use less power, so you've got more power, which makes basically the brake sharper. So, but the thing is, when it does that, the clearance between this throttle when it goes down, I don't know if you can see, but it can hit the brake lever. So there's that limitation. But obviously when you're braking, you're not going to have your throttle wide open. So therefore you don't need it all the way down. But because this is such a design, when setting up the calibration, so that you can get full throttle but have brake, you need to do it in a certain way, i.e. it doesn't affect the calibration, but you hold the brake on and then you do the calibration of your throttle. And that way it'll mean you can still have braking, so you can still feather your brake, you can still trail brake and throttle at the same time, and it doesn't get in the way. And I think it will really, it's the best way. If you try to do it with the thumb being underneath, it'd be a lot harder, because the way the hand's going to have to be moving, it's really not going to be good. It's okay if you're throttling like that and you're braking, because that movement's like that, it's totally different. But when you're actually braking and you're almost spinning your thumb, it's a different movement and it is more complicated. I tried it and it's like, yeah. And that's why I ended up going this way, and it really does work a lot better. I think Simon's going to be really happy with it. So that's that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset the calibration on this, do it in front of you, and this is where I've got a sign on my camera that says cam window. That means that where you're seeing me, I need to make it smaller so that you can actually see what the hell I'm doing. Oh damn, I moved that. I didn't mean to move that. Oh no, I'm supposed to go over here and move it. See, this is the problem when you're recording. Right, so I'm going to actually, so if I cancel that, I'll just go back to properties and show you that you can see in the square box, you can see the little X at the top, that's the handlebars. You can see the front brake, it's my left hand, front brake and throttle, okay? So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to reset it default, I'm going to calibrate it next. Right, so I'm doing the bars. I press a button. Now I want to do my throttle, which you can see moving there, but in order to calibrate it, because of the setup, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my front brake until it just gets, you've got free play, and then you get that just a bit of pressure, and that's the point where it's all about the pressure and not movement. So now I'm going to move the throttle. I'm going to let the finger off, finger down on the throttle as far as it will go, and it will touch the lever. Then I let go, and that's done. Then I go on to do the brake, and now this is where you can tune the brake, because it's hydraulic, to be as sharp or as less aggressive as you want. The harder you squeeze the lever, the weaker the brake will be. If you only pull the lever and there's a slight amount of pressure on it, when you go into a game, it'll mean that the brake will work really sharply, it'll be really quick. And that. So basically you want to put it where you feel the resistance, and then you squeeze it until you're not putting too much pressure, but it's quite a bit of force. Like you give someone a strong handshake, but not one that would hurt them. You know, so, but you just got to imagine, I want to stop quick, and if you quickly grab the brake, that's as much as you need. Otherwise you'll end up going over the bars. It's one of those things you experiment with. And so you'll have to learn how you and the system work together. Okay? Every person has a different strength in their hand, everyone brakes differently, everyone rides differently, and therefore you're going to have to maybe reset and recalibrate a couple of times. But once you get it there, it'll be spot on, and you'll find yourself not over braking, not under braking, and you'll be able to ride better. So I'm just going to pull this pretty light right now, because I don't know how much strength Simon's got in that hand. I'm just going to say that maybe it's pretty strong, but I'm just going to do it weakly because I'm not used to it and I don't want to over brake. I'd rather under brake and learn, but I'm not intending on riding with this system much. In fact, I very little, because I want to do a couple of laps, show that it works, and then we should be good. And I hope that if Simon sees this, he'll get the understanding. So we've now got our throttle, and it goes all the way up, Now if I pull my brake and do my throttle, now you can see, because I did it the way I did, I can hold full brake and full throttle at the same time if I want to. It's all a case of how you set it up. So you need to find your riding style and then you can set it up. That's going to be, it's kind of not exactly the way you want it, but you can have it if you wanted it. So I've allowed for that. So right, we got it set up. Okay, now the reason I'm going to use this other program is because, I'll be quite honest, I haven't been able to get Windows calibration to run in 4K mode, so in 1080p mode, because I'm in 4K. So it's so small, and I'm like 8 foot, 10 foot away from my screens. I can't see if, when I press a button, the lights are working. So I have to use a second program, which has numbers here that allows me to make sure that every button is working. So just gonna make sure that's all done and dusted. Like I said, I've made it so that there's the electric switch on this one, just in case Simon does have a means to do that. And at the end of the day, I'm the kind of person, if I couldn't use my hand, I would literally, I'd have it like a piece of string or something that I could put on the lever on my arm, and I'd go like that so I could use it. So yeah, I'm that kind of person. So I added that just on the off chance that maybe it could be used. Use it as a clutch, who knows? You have to think. And if I can't use a hydraulic on that, it'd never work, and it'd be a waste of putting the fluid, which is really expensive, because I use a special valvoline that is one of the only ones that is certified to be 100% non-hazardous if on an aircraft. So it's got the highest flash point, and that it's literally the best shit. Right, so that's that. Right, okay, we don't really need me about anymore anyhow. I've got to remember what screen I have to press to do what on where. So we're going to get rid of me. Right, I've got to press that. Stick me up here. And then I'm going to go into GP Bikes. Right, I thought I had Steam open. I do. Okay, so, and no, I am not going to do VR today. I had a blast the other day. I did VR with my body motion unit on the new Scottish Highlands track, which is from Project Cars. It's brilliant. It's my go-to track now. I did it on my CBR 900RR. I absolutely loved it. And I've put that on my database, so if you want it, just go to my YouTube and you'll see the video, and there's a link on the video. So I did a quick test. I used actually my CBR 900 because I just love it. My go-to test track is A1 Ring. But because if Simon's going to use auto clutch, now see, I'm doing it in this because I want to show the reality of the system working. It gets a lot more involved when you use Hs3 in that. But first off, you need to ensure you're calibrated, and it's basically the same as Windows. When you connect the system, you connect it in Windows, calibrate it, and then every other game you don't have to recalibrate, but you should be able to, because every game has a different input kind of measure, and it's really crap that they don't have it. But GB Bikes, thanks to goodness, it is the only real simulator. It allows you to calibrate, and once again, while calibrating, and this is a beauty, you can recalibrate your brakes. So if you ride one bike and you need really sharp brakes, you can go in GP Bikes, calibrate it, so you stay in the game, you only recalibrate while you're in the game, and you can change your brake setup, and you can't do that with any other game. And because I'm using hydraulic brakes, you can do it, and it just adds so much more to the immersion and the feeling and the control you have on the bike. So anyhow, without any further ado, I'm just going to whack through this, and we're going to do the same again. And we say okay. So now, see, once again, if we want to, we can do all that the right way. And I think I did set up clutch. See, I've got a clutch if I want one. Right, now one thing I need to do, because I've got this, no, I'm not actually going to set it, I'm just going to do it. It has to be set up differently if you're doing left hand and right hand. But basically I've got the reset and that for my buttons here, but if I change it all, it means it upsets everything that I have to do. So we're just going to leave it as it is. I just use my right hand. Well, you can do it all over here. It's just button setup. So this is just one bike. Oh, I need to get my slippers off, even though it's just for the gear shift. And word of advice, if you ever had a system like this, if you sit in a certain position and you expect your body to move in a certain way, and say, like I'm sitting right now, the way my ankle sits naturally, if I wear my slipper, it wouldn't allow me to move my foot in the way it naturally should do. It would restrict it, and I therefore have to force my ankle to move in a really weird way, and it can damage it. So always make sure, if you're doing something with simulations, think about your body. It's important. Right, most people would have been bored by now and naffed off, but this is for Simon, so here we go. I think I am set up actually. Yeah. Have I got any? Ooh. I have got some. Make it fun. A12. So these are trainers. It means that. No, they were, yeah, they're a different track. So that was on Silverstone. No, but these are like where I was riding before. You can save a trainer, and it means that when I make a video, yeah, I've got my soft tyres on. Okay. It means that you see other bikes and not just me doing me. So I'm actually really nervous because this is not easy. So you have to remember, right, I'm going to take, so you visually see, I'm not cheating, right hand, I actually forgot which way I got the tranny set up. Put my ashtray this side. I don't think I've ever been so nervous about riding. You know, I tried it myself, and now I've got to do it and other people are going to see me. Okay. I think I've got... Have I got... I think I put it on auto clutch, manual shift. Okay, well, we're in gear. I'm over concentrating right now. Oh yeah, I forgot I got manual gears, so I've got to change gear. Now I'm not going to go fast, I'm going to try and keep it on track. I've got to really learn this, believe me, it's not easy. And trying to lead with just one hand. So I am not going fast, guys. Oh shit, oh, I nearly put it over the bars. See, it's all going to be about getting to learn the system. I keep forgetting to shift up for some reason. I know this. I keep leaving my finger off the throttle. I'm saying the things that I'm doing because, see, I left my finger off the throttle again. It's definitely a learning practice, you know. See, I know I can come through here in second. Oh, Jesus. It's going to be a workout on the arms as well. Or the arm. So Simon, believe me, you are going to get a strong left arm. And the springs are really not that strong. There's both of me. It's going to be seriously learning how the throttle is, and obviously you can set the throttle and the brake up. Whoops. You're going to be able to... I'm worse when I talk anyhow if I'm riding a normal system, but this is like almost impossible to ride. I have to keep remembering to change gear. I have kind of got that front brake definitely a bit too sharp. It's gonna take time to learn to feather it. I was even forgetting to lean then. This is gonna be a learning curve. But you can see it is doable. Okay, yeah, I'm in first gear, but you got to remember, I am seriously having, my brain right now is like querying me, why are you not using your right hand? And I'm like, and at the end of the day, oh yeah, I've got to change it. I keep waiting for the bloody because I'm not using the clutch. I keep waiting for the bloody computer to actually turn the gear up. Now I forgot to do the throttle. Damn it. This is not easy. I could actually, if I change the stops on the handlebars, I can change the ratio of the steering as well. So you change the, if I lessen the amount the bars can turn, it makes the steering far more sensitive. Which means you don't have to turn the bars as much, but then you're turning them the incorrect amount. But it is doable. I mean, you can learn it if you wanted to. But I can actually change the ratio of which the bars turn. Oh, I could have sworn I blew the motor then. This is, I tell you what, with my wrist, this is, but, hey, I'm going to say it, but I bet I'll bloody crash now. I know I haven't been riding fast, but I tell you what, you bloody try it. Oh no, you know what, I wanted to rear brake. For some reason I downshifted. Oh no, I can't. Right, so I think you got the idea. Right, can we even get into the pits? So you need finesse to get into the pits, so can we? Well, I think we're good. Yeah. I think 40, is it 40? So I don't think we're going to get a penalty. Which is mine. I tell you what, for my first real left-handed ride, I didn't crash. I'm quite impressed with that, actually. You might not be, you might think, oh, bloody slow, but I tell you what, my brain, seriously, you might say, oh, you got no brain then. No, it is, I suppose if I hadn't been using my right hand for a long time, my brain would have got used to it and it would automatically think more for the left. And I'm hoping for Simon that's the case. But for me, wow, that really was hard to... I spent more time thinking about what I was trying to do than being able to actually ride and enjoy it. I reckon given time, yeah, it will become not natural, but it will feel a lot more natural than it does right now. There's just so many different things that I've thought of, and this is the best concept I've come up with. Like I said, for the whole thing where it's not just that it functions, but that once someone's got it and it's set up correctly for them, and it's that set up correctly that is really important, because it's just the angles of levers of where the throttle is going to sit, where the switches sit. That's all going to be set up correctly, and everything's in place, but it might have to be undone and rewired and moved along, which means rewiring a bit. So yeah, but once it's done, it can also be packed away and put up by that person with one arm, and that's what was important as well. It wasn't just a case of making it that it works. You have to think about, well, they don't want the handlebars in front of their computer all day long. Well, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it, but they're obviously going to use it for something else. So anyhow, I hope when Simon sees this, he gets a bit more understanding about the system and what's going on. And I mean, if anyone has a query as to can this be done or that be done, end of the day, anything can be done if you really want it to be done. It just takes a bit of, you know, imagination more than anything. And hey, look at what we have as a civilization created through history. So people, thank you very much for watching. I hope that gave an insight as to a little bit more about what I am as well. It's not just about gaming, this, that and everything else. You know, Simon loves his bikes, and if I could find a way to put him on a bike, I would. I have actually helped people in real life on bikes that, you know, wanting to ride, and I've helped. But this is just for something where, hey, have a bit of enjoyment in life. So once again, thank you very much. Please like and subscribe. I don't get many people, and I'm not one of those YouTubers that goes for it, but I'd love to make some money because I could do with some. Really do with some money. Right, so thank you for watching. You have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye. Oh, I've got to hit the button, don't I always forget about the button. Bye-bye.